Hello and welcome. I'm Emma and this is the 10-Minute Quilter. Thank you for joining me today. So you'd like to start patchwork quilting, but you're not quite sure where to begin. Hopefully this series of videos will give you a little bit of guidance, a little bit of advice, and will hopefully just give you that little nudge that might encourage you just to have a go. So let's just talk about a patchwork quilt. So you have a top layer, you have a front, which is made up of the patchwork. Now this can be anything from one piece of fabric, which is known as a whole cloth quilt, to multiple pieces sewn together into different shapes or blocks. Now this is just an old block that I've got hanging around, but I thought it might demonstrate how a quilt is made up. So this is your front with the patchwork. Then in the middle you have a soft squishy part that you can just see just through there, and this is known as wadding or batting depending on where you are in the world. And then you have a backing fabric, and then the quilting is the stitching that holds those three layers together, and that can be done by hand or by machine, whichever you prefer. And it just stops those three layers from separating out and moving. So what are you going to need to get started? You're going to need some fabric, aren't you, basically? It's a bit of a key component to the whole thing. And where can you get it? You can buy fabric from Amazon, you can buy fabric from Etsy. There are lots of independent fabric shops out there online, with lots of lists and pictures that you can look at and order, and then they deliver it to your doorstep. You can even get fabric in Aldi and Lidl these days as well. But nothing beats being able to go to your local quilt shop and being able to look at it in person. You also get to feel it, which is another exciting thing, because we all like to stroke our fabric, which sounds a little bit weird, but there you go. So when you go to your local quilt shop, you'll find lots of boards like this on the shelves with fabric folded over them, and this is what's known as a bolter fabric, and it's folded on widthways with the right side of the fabric showing outwards, like so. Now they are generally 44 inches, 1.12 meters in width. So this is this measurement, and don't forget this is folded double. So if you open it out, it would measure 1.12 meters or 44 inches all the way around. Now they do vary slightly. They do come up a little bit shorter sometimes depending on the manufacturer, so it is worth just perhaps double checking if you're buying for a specific pattern that you've got the right width of fabric. Let's take a closer look at the edges of this fabric. So here's my bolt of fabric, and you see it's got some white edges along this side. The opposite end has the fold, and these are what's known as the selvages of our fabric. These are the edges that are joined to the machine when it's being manufactured and printed and rolled. We tend to cut these out rather than have these in our projects, but they are also quite a useful tool. You can see I've got a very pretty fabric here, and if I open this up, you can see that there's usually some information along the edges as well that comes in quite handy. So sometimes it will have the manufacturer, which in this case is Lewis and Irene. It may have the designer's name, it may have the designer's range name on it, and it may also have a product number just here as well. It also has these little dots here. Now in this case it happens to be little flowers because the fabric has flowers, but very often it's just a little round dot. And these are the printer's die dots that tells you that the printer has used every one of these colours to print your fabric. So if you are going to try and find a fabric that will coordinate with it, you can use those little die swatches there as a very useful colour guide to find other fabrics that will coordinate with it. If you buy the fabric and you put it away in your cupboard, then when you next go shopping, you can just cut that little swatch off, pop it into your purse or into a little book, and you can take that with you to help you to choose fabrics that will coordinate with this range here. Now, they do also vary in price. So you can probably expect to pay anything from £14 to £16 a metre, depending where you buy. Now, you can get sale prices. Sometimes if a fabric shop is trying to clear some fabric, getting ready for some new stock, you can sometimes buy fabric that can be anything from sort of £6 upwards. It's highly addictive, I have to warn you. Once you start buying, it's very hard to stop. I do hope that's been of some help. If you've got any comments or questions, please do put it in the box down below. Please join me next time when we'll be talking about what sort of quantities you can buy your fabric in, and also pre-cuts. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye.